Every winter, volunteers from the Mennonite and Amish communities of rural southeast Iowa gather before sunrise at the Helmuth Repair Shop to can thousands of pounds of turkey meat. In a tradition that dates back to the 40s, the Mennonite Central Committee, or MCC, here and around the country participate in an annual meat canning drive that runs from October through May. During its last canning season, the MCC provided more than 1 million pounds of meat to people in 21 countries, including Canada and the United States.
We were canning meat back through the early, late 40s and 50s and 60s, and due to the regulations, we sort of backed off then, and then we started again in 2000, and this is our 7th year on it.
Vernon Ropp of Kelowna, Iowa, remembers helping as a kid when the MCC started the meat canning drive just after World War II. Back then, the Mennonites would pack the meat in 2-quart jars, wrap them in newspaper, and put them in wooden barrels to ship. But with a quarter of the jars breaking on trips overseas, they decided to switch to tin cans. Today, the portable meat canning unit is mounted on a flatbed trailer enclosed with fold-up sides. Ropp helped make his hometown one of the many stops for the operation's national tour. The meat is a good source of protein for families impacted by war, disaster, and poverty. Each can is able to feed 5 to 10 people. While beef and pork are canned at other sites, the Iowa group uses turkey thigh meat. The Iowans were concerned about countries not allowing beef because of the threat of mad cow disease, and turkey was easily accessible with West Liberty Foods, a poultry processing plant nearby. Each canning site is responsible for raising funds to buy the meat and for covering the cost of operating the canner. Ropp says they raise money for the project by asking for donations from local Mennonite churches.
There's been a very good response to it. We've always had enough money to cover all the expenses, maybe not right at the day, but soon after the meat canning, and it's been excellent.
Mennonites place a strong theological emphasis on voluntary service. MCC provides disaster relief throughout the United States and around the world alongside their long-term international development programs. The canned turkey meat has been sent to those affected by Hurricanes Katrina and Rita in the U.S., as well as many third-world countries. Ropp has visited some of these places, seeing firsthand how others live around the world and realizing just how many people are hungry.
We have a lot of food here. It sort of hurts me when I see a lot of food being wasted. When you go to Honduras and El Salvador and some of the third world countries, and you see people that are hungry and starving, and somehow if we can get our food to these people, is share with those that are in need.
Each year, MCC seeks people to serve on the mobile meat canner. Canning crew members usually serve 2-year terms spending 7 months on the road. From October to May, the current 4-member team will travel to 37 canning locations in 13 states and 2 Canadian provinces.
Some of the people, they're so happy to have 2 cans of meat. They said, if we wouldn't have the meat, sometimes my kids don't get nothing.
They say they save it for the weekends because it's something special. They don't get meat like that every day, you know. It's really, really cool.
Mennonites, for the most part, in Europe and North America are predominantly rural people, and the majority of the volunteers in Kelowna live on farms. Volunteers start early in the morning, working 4 shifts with about 50 to 60 people in each. A representative from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is on site and inspects the entire process. First, large containers of meat are cut into chunks. The meat is then poured into a large vat where salt is added. Finally, the meat is packed into cans and cooked. Afterwards, volunteers hand wash, dry, and label each can before it is placed in boxes for shipment.
I've been here every year on this job right here, putting the cans in.
So why do you like being a part of it?
Oh, it goes to help people, you know, that need relief, hungry people, and we all can work together and do something like that.
We were over
over in Ukraine for 2 years. We saw this coming in. It was wonderful to watch the people. They had smiles on their faces, and they got other things too, much clothing and things. They were very glad for it, and they were very glad for this meat.
The Pennsylvania-based MCC decides where the meat is needed most. Last year, volunteers helped fill more than 570,000 cans of turkey, beef, and pork for hungry people throughout the world. While visiting families in Bosnia, Rob says he was fortunate enough to discover a can of meat that he and the other volunteers in Kelowna had made.
That morning we went to the clothing distribution, and they had bales of clothing in this warehouse, and we were loading a van, and all at once I seen boxed meat behind the clothing there, and I seen our code, JJ, and I dug out a box and pulled out a can, and I said that was can January the 5th, I think it was, of that year of 2004, the second day and the second batch. I could tell by the code on it and the labeling on the can.
How did that make you feel to actually see it?
Well, you knew it got there where it was needed.
At this year's meat canning drive in Kelowna, Iowa, volunteers processed 19,000 pounds of turkey, producing over 10,200 cans. For Market to Market, I'm Laurel Bauer-Berkmeyer.